Hey, it's Amy Scott Grant, your favorite spiritual ass kicker. All right. This is really, really important, okay? What I'm going to share with you today, and I have some notes. So if you see me like look to the side or look to the side, it's because I have sticky notes on either side of the camera so that I don't forget to tell you anything important. And what we're talking about today is something that I'm calling your shift outlet. Okay, so what the heck is a shift outlet? I don't know because I made it up. No, I didn't make it up. Well, I did make it up. Like I channeled it literally this morning in the car coming back from driving the kids to school. I had this like huge epiphany. And I'll tell you about how that happened later. But first I want to tell you about what this means for you. Okay, because it's really... I'm telling you, this is one of those things that's going to make a huge difference in your life. Okay. So maybe grab a pen and paper because I feel like some thoughts and ideas will come to you while we're talking and you'll want to get those down. Okay. So what's a shift outlet? Okay. Like I said, I'll invent a definition because I'm like, what do I call this? Like I got the whole concept. I'm like, I need to put together a video for this. And then I was like, I don't even know what to call it. That's what it wants to be called, is your shift outlet. So energy, right? Energy's everywhere. You're made of energy. I'm made of energy. This computer, this microphone, this video, this message, this whole room around me, all of this stuff is energy, right? But sometimes when energy like bottlenecks or when it gets stuck, we don't necessarily notice it. And a lot of times, even for those of us who are sensitive to energy, we may not notice stuck energy until it is like hella stuck, right? Like, so when it starts to like narrow and it starts to bottleneck, we may not notice. Look, when energy is stuck in your body, if you're like a lot of us, you don't notice it till you get sick or something breaks, right? Like when you're like, I kind of feel tired, but you just keep going because you have 4,000 things on your to-do list. I totally get it. And then if you keep going, keep pushing, what happens? Something breaks. You get the flu, you get sick, you get constipated, like something goes wrong in your body that forces you to stop and go, oh my God, what is going on here? Like, oh, my neck is so stiff. Why? Who's being a pain in your neck? Right? Because you ignored like all the little subtle hints and now the bottleneck has gotten super tight and energy can't move and you're like, something's wrong. I need to fix it. So the shift outlet is like a preemptive way to avoid that. Okay. It's like a way it's an outlet that you put focus and energy into, that because you're focusing on your particular outlet, it's different for everybody. And I'll talk about how to find yours. But when you put energy into your outlet, it creates a shift in your energy, your field, your emotions, your mind, your body, and the space all around you. And it actually, we talk about like being in your own way, right? You've probably talked about that. I've heard people say things like, I'm my own worst enemy, or, oh, self-sabotage, or I got to get out of my own way. But no one actually tells you how to do that, right? This is a way to do that. This is a way to take your very active mind or your very active heart, your very active emotions, and pull that out of the equation so that the universe can do for you what it needs to go out and do for you so that you can get what you want. Okay? So the shift outlet is actually a way to get yourself out of your own way. Now, the cool thing is it's not hard, it's not stupid, it's not weird. It's actually super fun. And I bet once you get over your initial resistance, we'll talk about that, you're going to find it super enjoyable. Okay? So that's really good news. So that's what the shift outlet is. Okay? Now, let me tell you how it works. How it works is there could be 2 somethings for you, maybe even 3, but don't worry about that for now. For now, let's just figure out 1. Okay, that's my goal for you, is that by the time this video is over, you know, or at least think you know, what one of your shift outlets is. Okay, and I'll tell you a little bit about mine just to give you like a frame of reference that you can like map that experience onto your life because it should like help you figure this out. Okay. But here's what the shift outlet does. So, and I'm looking at my notes, so I'm not ignoring you. I'm just looking at my notes. All right. So like I said, the first thing it does is it shifts stuck energy. So we don't usually notice stuck energy until there's like a roadblock. And what the shift outlet does is it keeps energy flowing and it keeps stuff from backing up and it keeps energy from getting stuck in one particular spot. I don't know if you know this, but last year around the spring, like I went to see the doctor because I was having all kinds of problems, like severe problems, like problems that led me to believe I might have a brain tumor. Okay. I was having like neurological, I was like getting dizzy. I couldn't walk in a straight line. I was disoriented. I was forgetting things. I was spacing out. It was like really super scary and weird. So I went and had like, and I had, what made me go to the doctor was I had a headache for like 8 days straight. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I've tried all the usual stuff. I've been pounding water. I'm off caffeine. Like, I don't know what's happening. Something is wrong. And I went and I had like this horrible full morning of MRIs, which is like the worst thing you could have when you have a headache, right? It's just be in this tiny little machine with all these like banging noises right around your head. It was terrible. And then we get the results back. Good news, no brain tumor. It was a bulging disc in my neck. Okay. And I checked in like, oh, why do I have this bulging disc in my neck? And I immediately got, because I don't know what you're doing, but your throat is like, I had this like super tight bottleneck in my throat. And you guys who know me know or if you could see auras, you could tell I have like a massive crown energy, right? Like my crown is always super, super open. That's why I get information all the time and I'm like super tuned in, right? So I have all this massive energy. Can you imagine all this massive energy coming in towards your crown? Your crown's open, your third eye's wide open, and your throat is like a channel like this big, which apparently is what's going on. I had this tiny little channel in my throat. So all this energy is like flooding in and has no place to go. And then I had some blocks around my heart chakra. So it was like even what was trickling down through my neck, like couldn't get past my heart chakra because usually without even being aware of it, I'm running energy up and down, right? I'm super grounded. So instead what happened is like I'm grounded on the bottom and I got tons of energy coming on the top. And I'm like, nothing in my throat. So it was like it created a backup of energy in my neck, which caused me to have this bulging disc. And I didn't need surgery. I have like the most amazing chiropractor in the world, right? So like it's all sorted out and still have chiropractic follow-up, which is great. Love it. Amazing. And now if I get any kind of stiffness or pain in my neck, I'm like, ooh, okay, what's not open about my throat? What am I not saying? What truth am I not speaking? Right? So all of that is like to say, oh, what's going on? Oh, let me actively take steps to fix what is now broken, right? Because I waited too long to realize that my throat chakra was closed. So all this energy backed up and then something broke. I had a problem. I had a bulging disc in my neck. Okay. And then I had to go and fix it. That's not proactive. That's reactive. And that is how most of us operate, not just with health issues in the body, but with spiritual and energetic issues. So this is the shift outlet is a totally different approach to that. The shift outlet is actually like regular ongoing maintenance. I mean, assuming you're using your shift outlet regularly, which is what I highly recommend, is like put it on your calendar, schedule it, make it a to-do. Don't wait until you're feeling bad to use your shift outlet. So a big part of, realizing what the issue was and knowing, oh, pain in my neck. For some people, it's like someone's being a pain in your neck. And so that's what you need to deal with or resolve. For me, this was like, no, energy's backing up. Like I got this bottleneck here and all this energy has no place to go. And so I have to focus on keep opening my throat chakra so that everything can move and keep like speaking my truth so that everything can move the way it's supposed to through me as a channel. Okay. So with the shift outlet, you are actively doing something. And we'll talk about that something because that's the part that's different for everyone. But you're actively doing something that is causing energy to flow from you. I don't want to say out of you because that sounds depleting, and this is not at all depleting. This is like have you ever been to a natural springs? I don't mean like a hot springs, I mean like a font where you can drink, like down in Manitou, which is only like 40 minutes south of my house. That it's called Manitou Springs, and I think there's like 8 or 10 fonts like all over town that you could just walk up and like fill your water bottle and drink. And some of them taste metallic, and some of them are effervescent, and some of them are slightly sweet, and some of them just taste like spring water. But this is like hundreds of years old. That's flowing down from like melted icebergs. It's amazing. But one of the most fascinating things that I learned about these fonts and these springs is that they will actually like die and dry up if they're not allowed to flow. Because if you owned a natural spring, wouldn't you be like, I don't want to make that free to the public? I mean, maybe you would, but I think a lot of people would be a little bit capitalistic about it, right? Like, oh, I have a font. I think I'll like start a bottling company and this water tastes amazing and people can buy the water. But no, there's these free public fonts all over town, and that's because the water has to flow. And some of them flow at intervals. Like it might flow for 15 minutes and then it doesn't flow for an hour, and then it flows for 15 more minutes, and then it doesn't flow. So, and this is all like the natural rhythm of the earth. It has nothing to do with anybody like flipping a switch or programming anything. Okay. They've just directed the water to go to this font where you can just put a glass or your water bottle and fill up. Okay. But if they were to cap that font and not have a way for that to flow, like if they were to cap all the fonts and there wasn't any place for the water to go, the spring would actually dry up. It's amazing because probably it would go out and get absorbed into the earth. So this is a lot like that, okay? It's like you have energy that's like building up in you all the time. Why? Because people say things and you get pissed off and you don't express that anger. Or you are sad, but you can't explain why you feel sad. So you talk yourself out of feeling sad, or you try to cheer yourself up. Or you have things that you want to do, but you think you don't have the time or the energy or the talent or the money or the resources to pursue that. So you keep squashing that down, right? Or you have desires or urges or issues or angers or whatever that you're not dealing with. All of this causes energy to like back up. Or you're carrying negative entities around with you too, and that's probably a different conversation. But when energy backs up, it creates like stuckness in your field, in your body, in your emotions, in all of it. Okay, so having a shift outlet actually allows that to flow, just like the font for those springs. It just allows that to flow so that things can keep going and they can move through you, and you don't have to get sick and tired and exhausted and like, feel overwhelmed, or like you have all this energy backed up in your system. You don't have to have bulging discs from energy not being able to flow and all this kind of stuff. Okay. So it shifts stuck energy. The second thing that it does, the shift outlet, is it provides a necessary distraction. Okay. It actually helps you get out of your own way because it gives you something very interesting and or fun and positive to channel and focus your energy into so that the universe can do its job in the background without you interfering. Right? Have you ever like had if you have kids, remember when they were really small, like just past the toddler stage, right? Like 4 or 5, they're adorable and like super annoying. Like it's really hard to get anything done when you have a 4 or 5-year-old, or maybe you have nieces and nephews, or you've been around little kids. But when they get to that age, like 4 or 5, they're like old enough, like the house is baby proof. They're old enough to kind of get out of trouble, but they want to kind of be up your butt like all day. Like they're not in a space of amusing themselves. They want to like be with you, and I want to help you, mommy, and I want to help you, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. So you give them like a task to keep them busy, right? Oh, I really need someone to organize these napkins. Whatever it is. Or can you sort your Legos by color? Who gives a crap if they do that? Sure, I could do that. They feel empowered, they get excited, and it gives them something to do to kind of keep them out of the way. They're happy, you're happy, everybody wins. That's kind of how the shift outlet works, right? It's not busy work, okay? But because it's fun. Like for a 4-year-old, sorting actually teaches them a particular skill set. Right? It's something that's done in preschools and kindergarten, sorting. It's like it teaches them how to categorize and organize things and how to learn like what goes together. So it serves a purpose. You think you're just getting them out of the way, but you're also giving them something constructive to do, okay? It's the same kind of thing, except that you're not annoying the universe, like at all. But you annoy yourself sometimes because you feel like you get in your own way. So this takes you out of your own way, but also gives you something constructive to do that you can enjoy. All right? So that's the second thing, necessary distraction. The third thing is it just feels good. And have you noticed, like, is it easier for you to attract things that you want and for you to manifest when you're like annoyed and impatient and frustrated, or when you're happy and doing something you enjoy? Obviously, it's the second one, right? So the fact that it feels good is great, not just from like a hedonistic perspective, but also because then it puts you in a good positive vibration, which also helps support what the universe is doing in the background to move your dreams and desires forward. So those are the three things that the shift outlet does. Now, for me, my shift outlet is painting, okay? And you may have seen, I don't have any of them in the background right now, but you may have seen some of my paintings. Angela Anderson is an awesome teacher that's on YouTube that I've been following for years. She's got a colossal following now, but she's amazing. I just really resonate with her teaching style, and am finally now branching out to like paint my own stuff and not always do a tutorial of hers. Like, that took a lot for me to learn all those skills to have that level of confidence. But when I'm painting, like, I realized, this is what I realized this morning as I was driving back from dropping the kids off. I thought, gosh, I kind of feel like I feel stiff, not just my body, but like my brain sort of feels like a stiff brush. Like, it's not smooth and flowing. Like, things just feel a little constricted for me right now. And I'm like, what's that about? And I just got, girl, you need to paint. It's not an option. It's not a luxury. You know, when you have 3 kids and you have a business and you have an ADD husband and you have a busy life, it's like painting sounds like a luxury. It sounds like a hobby. It sounds like, you know, a creative outlet. It sounds fluffy, okay? Unless painting is your occupation. For me, there's a part of me that thinks painting is like an extracurricular. So I'll paint when I have time. And the message I got this morning is, no, bullshit. You need to paint. You need to paint. To be a nice person and a happy person and to have shit happen in your life, like good stuff that you want to happen, to unstick energy, you have got to paint. And I was like, okay, I have to paint. I have to paint. It's not, you know, like an indulgence. No. It is essential. And this is what your shift outlet is. Okay. It might feel fluffy to you. It might feel like, well, I'll do that when I have time. You know what? Next week or the week after that, I'll have more time and I could. No, your shift outlet is necessary. Okay. It's absolutely essential. So what painting does for me is I get to focus intensely, because like that's how I do stuff, right? Is intensely. So I get to focus intensely on something that is productive, fun, interesting, and I get to learn, which is one of my core values, is learning. So I always learn stuff when I'm painting or when I do an Angela Anderson tutorial. So I get to, and that's very satisfying for me, right? No matter how my painting turns out at the end, whether it looks like I thought it would, or whether it looks like hers, or whether it's even recognizable, which it is, because I'm getting better. I've been doing this a couple of years now. So to have a finished product that is art is very satisfying to me. And I love to create. My sacral chakra is very engaged. And so I have a lot of creative energy, which I like to write and I like to paint. But writing's different because writing is very much aligned with my work and my career. So even though it's creative, it sort of goes in a different box in my head than painting, which is just painting. I'm not painting for anyone else. I'm just painting for me. And a lot of times when I've given paintings as gifts, I've decided that after I painted it. There's very few times when I'm like, I am going to paint this for so-and-so. I can think of like 2 instances when that happened. More often than not, I put all my energy into a painting and then I look at it and it's done. I go, oh, I think I'll give this to so-and-so. So what painting does for me is it actually transmutes funky energy and stuck energy. And it allows that energy to flow out of me. And things that have not moved like things I've been working on. It's sort of like while I'm painting, the universe is like, okay, good. My 4-year-old's out of the way. Now I can get some shit done, right? And the universe starts working its magic and lining up planets and, all the magical, amazing stuff that it does in order to bring my desires to fruition. Okay, so it's just very liberating for me, painting. So it doesn't have to be painting for you. I'm going to give you some examples and then I'll give you 3 tips on how to actually find your shift outlet. Okay. So here's some examples that might or might not be your shift outlet, or just hearing these might make you go, oh, for me, it's such and such. Okay. Writing. And that could be journaling or actually creative writing, or that could be writing nonfiction. It could be writing about your feelings. It could be hot pen where you're just like sort of channeling while you're writing. So writing, painting, drawing, gardening. That's a huge one for a lot of people because you're also so tapped into that earth energy. So it has a very grounding effect, which people really find is a good positive outlet because a lot of that energy can just flow out of you into the earth and she can take it. Believe me, there's a lot of stuff that's annoying to her right now, right? A lot of the stuff that we're doing that's making life harder for our planet. But in terms of energy, you can, as much as you can send her, she could take it. She can totally take it because she grounds and transmutes that energy. So gardening is a huge one for people, as is like being outside, just being outdoors, camping, or just sitting in nature, going for a walk outside, or even like taking pictures, photography. Like I know I keep saying creative things. It doesn't have to be creative. It could literally be walking outside. It could be hiking. It could be jogging. It could be just connecting with the earth. Okay. It could be hugging a tree. It could be meditating. It could be singing. Singing is musical and fun, but it can be creative, but it doesn't have to. No one's saying you have to write your own songs. You could just sing your favorite songs, but that might be your specific shift outlet. It could be dancing. It could be, I think I already said meditation. It could be like getting a massage. That might be how you are able to like get out of your head and just let stuff go. Maybe you kind of like lose yourself when you're dancing or getting a massage or whatever. It could be designing. Graphic design, interior design. I know like when I first got married, I feel like I would know when I needed to move stuff around my house. Like this was before I knew feng shui. So I would just like put stuff wherever I thought it might look good. And so I was like, oh, what if we move the bed over here and we move that? So like every few months I'd be like, let's move stuff around. And then as soon as I'd move stuff around, like stuff in our lives would start moving, right? Like money would start flowing in a different way. And like people would start showing up and opportunities and all of this kind of stuff. So interior design, whether you're an interior designer or not, moving stuff around in your house can that can be a form of like, that could be your shift outlet. Or, I mean, it doesn't have to be huge. It could be flower arranging, but for a lot of people, that design element has enough head energy in it. Like they have to think and they have to, because like painting is creative, right? But at the same time, I love doing these tutorials from Angela Anderson because it's like, okay, what kind of brush is she using? Okay. And what colors is she mixing? Okay. And where's that going? And where's my light coming? And so where am I putting my shadow? And there's like enough of my logical brain involved in this artistic activity that it's super satisfying to me because it's right brain activity, it's left brain activity. And it's like, it blends everything together. And I'm like really happy and engaged, right? And that's really what the shift outlet is about. Okay, so let me tell you the 3 tips that I'm going to give you how to find your shift outlet. It might already be clear to you, right? You might be like, oh, obviously it's this. But just in case it's not, here's what you can look at. What activity do you feel really peaceful and calm after you do? That could be your shift outlet, okay? By the way, it could be cleaning, organizing. Like I said, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be creating art to be your shift outlet just because mine happens to be painting. By the way, it happens to be painting right now. When I first started writing the first novel, which I think was like 4 years ago. Yeah, I know it's not out yet. You'll be the first to know when it is. But when I first stuck in a zillion edit number zillionth mode, whatever. But when I first started doing that, it was walking. I didn't even know about shift outlets, didn't know any of this, but I knew if I didn't walk every day for like 40 minutes, I felt something just felt off, you know? So, and if I did walk, I felt so much better. I felt calm and peaceful. And I also felt energized too. So whatever makes you feel that way could be your shift outlet. Or ask yourself this: if I had all the time, money, resource, talent, knowledge, whatever, what would I do? Like, oh, I would, if I could blah, 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 then I would do this. That could be your shift outlet, right? If you're like, if I could find the right teacher, I would totally paint. Well, no, go check out Angela. She's fantastic. But if you're like, if I could find the right teacher, I would love to do interior design if I had the time to learn how to do it. Then that some element of that is probably your shift outlet. And the third tip is, what activity have you been resisting doing? I got to tell you, probably for 5 years, I had intuitives and psychics telling me, you need to start painting. And I was like, I don't know anything about painting. Like, I didn't get very good grades in college and art class. You know, I was told I didn't really like have any vision. Right? Like, you don't really have a knack for this. I don't know. It's kind of blah, 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 whatever. So it's like, I had a lot of resistance to painting, like a lot. And then I can remember at times too being like, I don't think I can afford to like go buy all those supplies. I'm laughing because, like, for real, like Walmart sells, you know, pads and canvas paint, you know, canvas things, and they sell brushes and paints, and like Target sells all this stuff, and Michael's has coupons, so does Hobby Lobby. Like, trust me, you can afford to start painting. Anybody can afford to start painting. You might not start out with the top of the line. You know, you might not start out with like a kit of golden paints and top of the line brushes, but you can get started today. So anything that you've like kind of wanted to get into, or people kept saying, you should write songs, you should do this, or you're thinking, I should really get outside more, but you've been resisting, there's a very good chance that that is your shift outlet. All right. So I hope you found this really helpful, and I hope that you will dig into this. I hope that you will go into a discovery phase and figure out what your shift outlet is, because I'm telling you, once you start doing it, it's going to make all the difference. Now, I would like to do a little experiment if you're game for that, because I've been sitting here, like I told you, I drove the kids home from school and I was like, oh, I need to, yeah, that's what's off. I need to paint. I need that outlet. It doesn't even matter what I paint. Like, you know, some people need to put stuff into their art. No. I just need to sit down and carve out a few hours and paint something. And then when it's done, it's like everything is shifted. Okay. So I get this message, I really need to paint. And I'm like, gosh, people need an outlet like this. Like, they need to know the importance of what this can do for them. So I like mapped out what I wanted to talk about in this video and created this video, and I haven't painted yet. So when I finish this video, I'm going to actually go paint. I know exactly which tutorial I'm going to do and what I want to paint and all of that. So the experiment is that after I finish the painting, I'm going to show you the painting and tell you about it. Okay, so I'm going to shoot a separate video. And I'm just curious if you notice any difference in my energy in the after. This is like the before video. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see if you notice any difference in the after video. Now, I promise I'll shoot it today. So makeup will be same, hair will be same, outfit will be same. I will tell you, I will look a little different because the lighting does change in my office. You know, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning right now, and the light gets a little softer, and so like my skin tone will look a little different in the afternoon. So full disclosure on that. But I am interested to see if you notice any difference after, because I do feel like weight on my shoulders. I feel like kind of tired, and I just feel, like I said, I just feel like a little stiff. Like my body feels a little stiff, my brain feels a little stiff, my creative process feels a little stiff. It might be why this video is kind of long, because my thoughts aren't as organized and flowing as smoothly as they usually do when I create a video for you. Because you can see, like, I don't have a lot written down. I just bullet points, then I just say whatever comes through for the rest. So, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see the video. And, maybe when you figure out your shift outlet, maybe you'd be willing to take a picture of yourself before and after you do it. Because you might be inclined to think that it doesn't make a difference. If you were in my shoes and you you know, took this break and went and painted and then came back and sat down at your desk and didn't see an email inbox like in full of new clients and new book orders and whatever, you might be inclined to think it didn't work. But if we can actually see a difference, because I know we've done retreats and stuff where we did a big clearing, the person's face literally changed, not their expression, not the brightness in their eyes. They looked remarkably different. We actually had a woman that she had like deep set wrinkles in her forehead, and the wrinkles were actually gone after we did the clearing, and everybody was like, ooh. I mean, it was insane, where you're like, dang, I wish we had a picture, but we didn't. But maybe you'll take a picture before and after your shift outlet. That would be a really cool experiment. And maybe you don't see any different. I don't know. I can guarantee you, if you find your shift outlet and you implement it regularly, you give yourself that regular outlet. And again, how often, that's going to depend on you. For me, I need to paint like every 2 weeks minimum. Once a week would probably be better, but every 2 weeks minimum, I feel like keeps my energy really going, because I really haven't painted anything in probably like 3 or 4 weeks. And I think that's why I'm feeling like things kind of feel a little stuck, right? So yeah, take a before and after picture, post them. Let's see them. Let's see what we think. And you might not see a difference, but we might. So I will see you in the after video. Thanks for being here. I'm excited to hear what your shift outlet is. So post a comment and tell us. We're like dying to know. All right. See you later. I'm going to go paint now.